Hiya, I'm Simone Radley from England and Nails, and in this video we've got something new and exciting. We have got white pigment. So it's something that's been in production for quite a while now, and we've been testing them because we wanted to find the perfect one, and now we found it. So this will make ombre, baby boomer, whatever you want to call it, much easier for you, because we all know people love a pink and white baby boomer. But to be fair, doing it in gel polish, bit of a ball ache, I'm not gonna lie. So this will solve all your problems. So I'm working on an almond fit tip, and I have done 2 coats of cover flubber. That is my personal favourite for doing the baby boomer, because it's quite a dark pink, so I really like the contrast it gives between the pink and the white. I think it looks really good. So now I'm going to use Velvet Matte Top Coat, which might seem a bit odd, but it is best, I've found, it works best with the pigment, not to put it directly onto the tacky layer, because it's too tacky and the inhibition layer kind of mix in with the pigment and it makes it go a bit kind of lumpy and streaky. So I find it better if you've got a bit of a, not a sticky base to put it onto, but something that feels a bit rubbery, which is what you get from the Velvet Matte Top Coat once it's just come out of the lamp. It kind of has a bit of a rubbery feel to it, so it works really well. Now, the thing that is most important when you're doing this is to make sure you don't have loads of lines and streaks in your velvet matte, because if you do, that will just be really picked up by the pigment when you put it on. So you've got to make sure you get your velvet matte on as smooth as possible. So I'm going to paint a coat of this, and what I'm going to do is I've got quite a lot of it on my brush. So ordinarily you'd probably use a little bit less, but what I want to do is do this as like a floating layer. So I'm hardly any bending my brush, I'm not like that, because you get lines in it. I don't know if you can see that, it's picked it up, yeah. So I want to avoid any of those lines, so I'm getting a bit extra on my brush, and my brush isn't really bending at all, because I'm just floating this velvet matte over. And then I'm just going to move it in the light just to see if it looks liney. It looks pretty good. If you're not sure, wait a few seconds, and also you can turn it upside down for a few seconds just to obviously let it settle. It's best to wait a few seconds and let it settle rather than cure it and you've got lines in it, because like I say, it is just going to totally show up in this white pigment when you put it on. So if we move it in the light, it looks pretty good. It doesn't look like there's loads of lines or anything. So I'm going to pop that in the lamp to cure for 60 seconds. So now that's cured and out of the lamp, we can get on to the fun part. So we've got our white pigment here. Now, this method of application is one that I just randomly came up with whilst I was trying out the best ways to get the sort of best blend with it. So what I do first is I shake it. I shake it really well. And then we're going to use what's on the lid. That's it. You don't need loads of it at all. So a pot will last you ages. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use my gloves. Now these gloves are my favourite gloves. They are the Aurelia Bold ones, which you can normally buy from Ink. They have had a stock of a few sizes in, but obviously with COVID it's been a bit difficult, but these are those ones. But as you can see from looking at them, they are textured, so they've got a bit of a grain on them. So that's why I've got this couch roll out. We need that to get rid of the texture in the glove. So the couch roll is a bit rough. It's got, I mean, it's not really rough couch roll, but it has got a bit of a tooth to it. So that's going to help us get rid of the texture in the glove. So I'm going to use my ring finger first, and I'll put it in the lid and rub it. And then you'll see that you can see that texture in the glove. So I'll rub it around in a circle. Then I'm going to rub it in a circle on the couch roll. Rub it in. and rub it on there. And you can see it blends into the texture on the glove, so it kind of gets rid of the texture. And then when I'm happy with that, I actually might need a teeny bit more pigment. Didn't pick much up in the lid that time. Right, so when I'm happy with that, I'm going to get my tip and I kind of push it onto the tip, but as I'm putting it onto the tip, I'm pulling it down, like dragging it down. So I'm kind of brushing it off the end, basically. And you want to do this so it's about 2/3 of the way up, I would say. I'm really bad with like measurements like that. And if you've got a little bit liney, you can also go side to side. Don't worry about that. You can go side to side, that's perfectly fine. In fact, I like to do a bit of both. I like to drag it down and go side to side because I find that you get a much better coverage and blend. If you need to pick up a bit more, go back to your lid in a circle. Dab it. I dab it into the same place that I keep going because that's where you've already got pigment as well on that couch roll. But you can see it just adds a bit more in. And obviously we want the bottom nice and white. So now we've got to this stage, I'm going to tap it just to make sure we've not got too much excess. You can see we've got excess here. I'm going to use my middle finger now because it's a clean finger. I'm turning it round and I'm going to go onto this line and drag it downwards. So as you can see, it really starts to blend it out. And then, over where I've got the blend, I'm going to dab onto that little bit where I've been taking the excess off the other finger. Dab it on. If you've got too much, just wipe it off. And then again, just drag it down. Rub it. Give it a rub side to side. That's perfectly fine. If anything, it'll help with your blend. This is so easy and so effective. And for me, this is really how you get the best blend. I'm just going to pick a little bit more up. Easy. And it's such a lovely blend this way. So now all you need to do is top coat. So for my top coat, I'm going to use Rock Light, and we want to do this in the floating method that we used for, can't get my words out, for the velvet mat. So I've got sort of a decent amount on the brush, and I'm starting at the top. It's fine here to put it on as you normally would because you've not got your pigment here. So I'm putting it on as I normally would and pulling most of it down, and then I am really lightly floating my top coat over, and I'm going to pick up a little bit more, really lightly, as I say, floating it. I would top coat this twice if I were doing it on a client, and obviously with the second top coat you can put it on as normal. You don't need to be really floaty because you've covered up your pigment already. You just don't want to basically drag your pigment off. So now I've put that on, I'm going to pop it into cure for 60 seconds. And just while that's curing, this is one that I did earlier, and I'm going to show you something else you can do. So this is one that I did with exactly the same method, and again, I just love it. I love the blend. I'm really happy with that. But if I'd done one and I wasn't 100% happy with it, say I did it and I looked at it and I thought, not entirely sure about the blend, it probably could be a little bit better. What I'm going to do is show you what you can do. So then I would get some nude flubber. Nude flubber because it's just, it's quite sheer. If you use a thin coat of it, it's quite sheer. The colour is definitely not as opaque as cover flubber. So instead of top coating first, I would come along, or you can top coat to make sure you don't drag your pigment away. If you want to do a top coat first, that's fine, because you really want a thin layer of this because you don't want to totally cover up your ombre. But if you put a super duper thin fluff, super duper thin layer of nude flubber over the top, it will help to mask your blend if you have got it a little bit dodgy. So you can still see ombre, but as you can see, it just looks like totally flawless. It just sort of covers it up a little bit. And then obviously you would top coat it after that. So it's just a little thing that you can do if you're not entirely happy with your blend when you put your pigment on. But saying that, if you use this method, you will be happy with it. So this is the one that we did, look. It's out of the lamp now with its top coat. I'm just going to wipe the inhibition layer off with a bit of green cleaner. And you can see how beautiful that ombre is. It really is such a lovely, easy way to do it. That's it, easy peasy. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and I really hope you found it useful. And if you were somebody that dreaded doing an ombre before, hopefully now you won't anymore. So don't forget to like, subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Also ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, because why would you want to? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.